Hi, this week at school it's Refugee Week, so I've found this lovely book which I'm going to read to you, and then there's a little worksheet I'd like you to do for your home learning, just to draw me a few things in the suitcase about some of the things you would take with you if you were to have to move house, to move country, and to think a little bit about what food do you think you might be trying. But have a look at the worksheet. Okay, this is a story which is called My Name Is Not Refugee, and it's by a lady called Kate Milner. Okay, let's read the blurb. Our town is not safe for us anymore. Leaving would be sad, but quite exciting too. The journey would be long, but Mum will be there every step of the way. How would you feel if you had to leave your home behind? And that's a very good question. How would you feel? Let's have a look, and there is the little boy with his mummy. My name is not Refugee. Oh, picture lots and lots of different tents, because some people have to live in tents just while they're waiting for a home to be ready. So you might have slept in a tent before. You might have gone on holiday and slept in a tent, and it's quite exciting when you're doing it for 1 or 2 nights. But I wonder how exciting it would be if you were doing it for longer than 1 or 2 nights. Let's have a look. We have to leave this town, my mother told me. It's not safe for us, she said. Shall I tell you what it will be like? We'll have to say goodbye to old friends. You can pack your own bag, but remember, only take what you can carry. What would you take? And have a think now. If you had that little bag, you can see that he's put his toothbrush in and his favourite teddy and maybe a photo. Look, that was his friend, a photo. What would you put in your little bag? Maybe you could tell your grown-up at home what you would put in your bag. We'll say goodbye to our town. It will be quite sad, but quite exciting too. That's what he's saying goodbye to. So you can see it doesn't look a very nice place to live. It doesn't look a very safe place. And the question here is, do you think you could live in a place where there's no water in the taps and no one to pick up the rubbish? I was just thinking that when I was looking at that big bag of rubbish there. We're very lucky, aren't we, where we live in Brighton, in England. We've got the dustmen that come and pick up the rubbish for us. We've got the recycling people that come and pick up the recycling. And I don't know about you, but in my house, if I want some fresh water, I just go to my tap and turn on my tap. And there's lovely fresh water that runs out. But this little boy, he doesn't have that in his house. So he's saying goodbye to this place. And I bet he's going to be moving somewhere much nicer. We'll march and skate and run and walk and walk and walk and wait and wait and wait and get up again and walk and walk and walk. Oh my gosh, he's done a lot of walking. And it says, how far could you walk? How far do you think you could walk? Don't know about that far. Sometimes we'll be by ourselves. It might get a bit boring. That might be his view. It's quite boring, isn't it? What games could you think of to play? If you were sitting there with your mum or your dad being really bored, what games would you play? I think I would have a quick game of I Spy. That's quite a fun game, isn't it, while you're waiting? Sometimes we'll be with other people. Quite a lot of other people in that queue, isn't there? And it says, do you always hold on to an adult's hand when you should? When you're crossing the road, when you're somewhere busy, do you always hold on? You should do. We see lots of new and interesting things. Let's see what he can see. Lots of different vehicles on the road. Wonder where they're all going. And the question at the bottom of the page says, do you like cars and lorries? Quite interesting to look at, but sometimes can be quite noisy. And sometimes they often pollute the air. And the air gets a bit smelly when we're walking. We'll sleep in some strange places. Where would you brush your teeth? Or change your pants? If you were there. It's interesting, isn't it? We'll hear words we don't understand. Maybe in another language. Do you think they've gone to a new country? Imagine not being able to understand. And it says, do you speak more than one language? Lots of you are very lucky in our class. You speak 2 languages. Very lucky. Oh, and I get to taste lots of new foods. I wonder what he's having to eat there. What's the weirdest food you have ever eaten? Have you ever been on holiday and eaten something really weird? We'll get to a place where we're safe and we can unpack. What things would remind you of your old home? And soon, those strange words will start to make sense. And you'll be called Refugee, but remember, Refugee is not your name. There we are. I like that last page because the little boy was smiling. Look, he's really happy. He just had to go through a lot to get happy again. So have a think about some of those questions in the book. Have a chat with your mummies or daddies or grandmas and have a chat about it and then complete the worksheet. Okay, and that's all. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye for now.